So yeah, I think I'm gonna tell you guys a story of how I got to where I am. Ooh. All right, so I just showered, I just shaved. Feeling good, hopefully. So today, I think is like my 10th day in quarantine, this month. It's December 13th, 2020. And so far this year, I've been in quarantine 3 times in the past 3 months. October was the first quarantine, and then the following month, November, was the second, and surprise, now, December, it's the third time I've been in quarantine. So what exactly happened? Well, October rolls around, it's my dad's birthday, and he finds out that he tested positive for COVID. So we're like, okay, cool, this is fine. We're just gonna go into quarantine for a bit, come out just fine, have a good time. So my family, we do our quarantine. Our dad gets tested again to get a negative test to prove that he's over it. My mom also takes one so that she can go back to work. And then the county calls us and they're like, hey, the 2 adults that tested positive earlier and are now negative, they can go out into the world. That's fine. As for the people who haven't gotten a negative test, they need to stay in quarantine for 2 more weeks, I think is what they said. Which was irritating because we had already done our 2 weeks and we were like, there's no way that any of us didn't get it, because we all felt like we had symptoms, and we all did have symptoms. And so immediately Josiah and I were like, okay, we don't want to stay in quarantine for 2 more weeks because we have stuff that we want to do. We have to get back, we want to get back to work and do stuff. So we go get tested. Same day, same time. We go to one of those drive-through testing places. Thankfully, Mom was there to explain the process because I was so confused at what I was doing. She actually helped me more than she helped Josiah, because I was just like, I'm doing what again? And so I stuck the Q-tip in my brain, swirled it around a couple times. Josiah did the same thing. We give it back. A couple days later, we get our results, and I tested negative. So I was like, oh, this is good, kind of. Josiah tested positive, but since Josiah tested positive, that meant that he had it or something, and that he could be back into the world sooner than I could, because since I tested negative, they were like, well, there's no way that we can prove that you had it, so there's still a chance that you could have it. So at Josiah's last day of being quarantined, I got told to quarantine another 2 weeks along with Levi. And I was like, well, this is stupid. So I quarantined, and then I went to Michigan. In Michigan, I'm hanging out with BJ and Bethany and my niece Talia, having a good time, just absolutely, just having a blast, eating some awesome food all the time, and once again having a blast. And then one day I felt absolutely terrible. This was the day after I did a ton of physical labor. I felt sore and achy, and I was like, this is really weird. So then BJ, Bethany, me, and Talia, we're all in the store. It's like a grocery outlet place, but not just for groceries. They got other stuff there too, like toothbrushes. I actually got my toothbrush from there for 89 cents. Great deal. Not the best toothbrush I've ever had, but it gets the job done. I don't think I have any cavities. If I do, Mom, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. But on top of all that, so BJ and I were in this store, walking down this aisle, and he picks up this pineapple starburst scented candle, and he's like, hey Ruben, smell this, it smells so bad. And I'm like, okay. And I go and I smell it, but I don't. I go, nothing, I can't smell anything. And I'm like, oh boy, BJ. And so I tell BJ, I'm like, hey, I couldn't smell that. And he's like, uh-oh. And I'm like, uh-oh. And so we go home. I try smelling other things. I found out that I don't have a sense of smell. And yeah, I was like, dang, I have COVID. Even though I thought that I had it back in October. But that test that I had negative, that I thought was a false negative, was actually a real negative. I sat with my family for 3 or 4 weeks, all huddled in like the same area, and I never got COVID. But then I go to Michigan, and I somehow picked it up, and then I'm just out. So I quarantine for the proper amount of time since the day like my symptoms started, which was the day that I was feeling like super achy. I found out that wasn't actually me being achy, that was actually COVID, my first day of COVID. Fun stuff. But yeah, for the rest of the time that I was quarantined, I couldn't smell or taste anything, and then literally the day that I was supposed to get out, and that I did get out of quarantine, I could smell and taste again, and I was like, this is stupid. But not being able to taste and smell anything was so weird. There were foods that I would normally like that I didn't like because all I could taste was just texture. And like, I don't even think you really taste that. I could feel it. I felt the texture of foods and I was like, this is gross. Like, I don't actually like this. And so I got over that, and then I moved to where I am now, in Aspen, Colorado. I'm doing an internship here, but I'm living in a house with like 17 other people. It's less now because some people have quit the internship because there's just so many things that have gone on with it. But someone in the house got COVID, and then other people got COVID, and then the county was like, hey, everybody in this house needs to quarantine. And so here I am, back in quarantine for the third time in 3 months. Is ridiculous. I don't understand why I've been in quarantine. Like, I understand why I've been in quarantine so much, but the fact that it's just followed me everywhere is just ridiculous. It's like, it's not fun. It's just very boring. I sit around all day playing video games. I cook food for myself and like just try to survive. Like, I'm literally just trying to get through these days. Like, some days are good, some days are bad, but that's just life, I guess. Quarantine 3 times in 3 months. All on different occasions. It's been a trip. Hopefully I don't have to quarantine in January, but if I do, I think I will just, I don't know, I will be making a lot of videos. Because, yeah, it's been so weird. It's been so weird just sitting in quarantine, just chilling. Like, I wish I could do something, but I'm just like stuck. Thankfully, I have video games. Thankfully, I have technology that lets me communicate with other people, and that's been fantastic. But at the end of the day, it's still very boring. And it's also very interesting how much I realized having a job helps me. Because having a job for me, at least right now, when I first got put into quarantine, like when I woke up in the morning and realized I didn't have to go to work because I was in quarantine, I was like, what's the point of getting up? Like, what's the point of being awake? What's the point of going and taking a shower? Like, what's the point? I think something that quarantine has helped me do is just find purpose beyond just sitting in quarantine. Find purpose beyond just going to work every day and doing my job and excelling in what I do. I think it's helped me realize that I need to not just live and survive so I can, keep working, but live and survive so that I can be there for other people. I don't know if that makes sense. Taking a shower and shaving this morning was a big deal for me because I haven't showered. Well, no, I've showered, don't worry. I've showered, but I haven't shaved because I was like, what's the point of shaving? I don't have to go to work, so I don't have to look presentable to anyone. So in the last couple videos, you might have seen me with some really weird looking facial hair because I can't grow a beard. BJ took that all. He took all of the beard genes and he left me with nothing. And so I have to shave while he gets to grow out his majestic lion's mane. Shaving this morning was a big deal. Yeah, so now I'm just living life, in quarantine. I'm in quarantine for 3 or 4 more days. It was originally just supposed to be 5, and then it got extended by another week, and then it got extended by 2 more, or no, it got extended by like another week. Like technically I'm out of quarantine on the 16th, and I return to work on the 17th. But yeah, being in quarantine kind of sucks, but I'm trying to learn from it, trying to understand why this just keeps happening. It's been interesting. It's forced me to deal with myself, which is interesting. This is a very different video from what I normally put up, but I think there might be more of these in the future, just because where I live, I don't have a lot of people I can talk to. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person that is like myself in this house of a ton of people. I live a very different lifestyle from everyone here, and I'm just trying to hold on to that as best I can. And so if doing these kind of videos help me, then I'm going to do that. Yeah, it is what it is. If people enjoy them, then that's great. If people have any words of advice or encouragement, let me know, because yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching. This is Ruben Merriman, aka JRK Studios, signing off. Have a good one, and yeah, have fun, or don't. I'm not your mom. I'm not forcing you to do anything. Just have a good time, or don't. I'm still not your mom. Whoa.